We are recording. Perfect. All right, Jack, we'll move it over to you then.
All right, thank you, Julie. Um, Before we start, when I was asked to do a program on the 3500 line, like you've already heard, I recognized it was a big line and kind of hard to deal with a lot of it just in one night. So I asked the Sunday study group, which some of you that are on here are also on that Sunday Zoom as well, if I could split the 3500 into four programs, which they said great, which I did. And actually, the first one was a couple of days ago on stemware. So there's going to be three more of those spread out throughout the next year or so. I think the next one may be in August. And it'll be on, I don't remember if it's on like bowls and comports and stuff like that. And in the Sunday group, we get a lot more into detail and get to talk about a lot more different things that we don't have time to do necessarily on the Tuesday night thing. So if any of you are interested, in that, absolutely, you can go on the website and request the link and join up on Sunday if you can make it. It's a lot of fun. So, okay. So, Julie, if you can I share a screen? I guess I can. Nope, you need to allow me to share screen since you took me off
Okay.
host.
Let me see here. And let me see here. Just a second, Jack. It's a little different than on my phone than it is on my normal computer.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, try it now.
Okay. Nope, not yet.
Okay.
If it's easier to make me co-host, that would also accomplish the same thing.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to do that. It's just a little bit different than it is on the computer. So give me 1 second. Just walked out of the office without the computer today.
While she's doing that, I think maybe now's a good time. I was going to do this in a little bit. I've got a trivia question for the group. You guys know how I like trivia questions on things. And so the 3500 line was one of Cambridge's largest. So I'm going to give you a multiple choice question, and you can think about this till later. But of the four largest Cambridge lines, figure out which one's the largest. Okay, and here's your choices: Caprice, Pristine, 3400, or 3500. So I'll give you those again. Pristine line, Caprice, 3400, or 3500. And for extra credit, if you get them all in the right order, you get to go over to David's house and get a piece of glass of whatever you want. He's agreed to that. Well, no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, that would be something if you could get them in the right order. But so we still
Here's what we're going to do, Jack. I'm going to drop, and then it'll put you as host, and then I'll rejoin.
okay, that'll work.
Okay. Because I can't quite figure out how to get this hosting thing what I need to do. So I'm not going to stand people up here. Okay.
Okay, I'm the host now. Let's see if I can share, and I can. Okie dokie. Okay, and let's go full screen. There we go. Okay. Well, I just got taken off of the host. I think Doug did that. Let's see if I can share now. So I don't know what. Let's see who's on. Doug, I think when you just logged on, you took me off as co-host, and I was took me my ability to share the screen. So that may be Julie again that did that, not Doug, named Doug. So, oh, I'm the host again. Okay, well, let's try this one more time. Okay, so as I said, that the 3500 line is just a big line, and it's an interesting term. It's not something that Cambridge came up with necessarily. Um, Gadroon is a term that really, from it's like when you look at the research, it dates back to the 1500s, and it's a term that applies to all kinds of different artwork, including pottery, silver, furniture, and of course, glass. So what does gadroon mean? It's that type of edge that collectors, when we first started getting into Cambridge, we were told that's the pie crust edge. So so it is kind of a distinctive looking around. In this particular case, this is the 67 relish, and the edge of the tray going around has that pie crust edge. The inserts, the four inserts along the edge also have that kind of gadroon edge, and the center cup actually has it as well. So all the pieces in this piece have that gadroon type edge, and that's pretty much indicative of all the pieces in the line. Um, the uh, the stemware is also very distinctive, and we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. There were 15 different stems in the line, three different finger bowls, and a total of 136 different items outside of the stemware. So 15 stems plus 136. And by the way, oh, on my trivia question, the answer should not include stemware, as if that's going to make a difference. But anyway, I wanted to be safe on that. So when the 3500 line was introduced in early 1933, there were 8 pages in the 3034 catalog and the 33 supplements. The first two were stemware, and the next six were all non-stem items. What's cool about this page, there were only 10 of the original 12. Originally, there was only 12 stems introduced, so three more yet to come. And this shows also three etchings, Minerva, Valencia, and Elaine. Now, they all would be become featured on this, but Elaine by far became the dominant etching on this line. And one of the reasons that the 3500 line is pretty special to Elaine and myself is because being Elaine collectors, we have a lot of the 3500 line. So um, see, the stemware line originally did not include three items, as I said. There was just 12 originally. The ones that did not include Cafe Parfait, and then interestingly, the cordial and the 12-ounce footed tumbler, which was the iced tea, which was a very popular item, but that was not part of the initial offering. So. Um, the line appeared in only one trade journal ad, and this was in 1933 of September. And this is a pretty interesting picture. It has the two smaller 10-inch covered urns. One on the left is etched Minerva, the one on the right etched Elaine. And then the 25 Ram's Head bowl in the center is etched Chintz number one. And of course, the ad says they're all gold encrusted, so you have to imagine that. But I imagine that was a beautiful display looking at it in person. So the first patent that was granted was the one on the left for the goblet in October 20th of 31. There was a second one that was granted in May of 33, the one on the right. They're not the same. The one on the right's actually the one that was produced. The one on the left was just we don't know what that was. That was kind of the initial design for it, and to the best of anyone's knowledge, that was not produced. Um, Frank Wallenhop did a really interesting article on this, bringing this to everybody's attention way back in August of 1976. He did a crystal ball article in that. So um, the other patents that were granted, the first one was for a plate, which that's absolutely recognizable. The plate looks exactly like that. The next one, though, is something out of this world. It is a mayonnaise bowl. And again, these were granted in 1931, so about a year and a half before the line was introduced, but nobody's ever seen this piece. There could be a sample around somewhere, but this was one that was never put in production. And then the third one is exactly in the same situation. It's a celery tray. It's a cool looking piece. It has a gadroon edge, but it was never put in production. So nobody's ever seen a sample for these, but they might exist somewhere. Who knows? Speaking of that celery tray, I had to show this. So originally the 652 celery was introduced in 1927. That's the one at the top. It just has a plain edge. This one's peach blow and has a really nice gray cutting on it. And that lasted until about 33. And then in 1934, not in the original introduction of the line, but about a year or so after, they introduced this celery. Oops, let me get back. Sorry. And all they did was they took the 652 and they put a gadroon edge on it and called it 3500 652. This particular one is again peach blow and it's etched Elaine. And that lasted until the early 40s. And then they decided, well, in the late 40s, we need another celery. So they took the 652, they took the gadroon edge off. Now it's exactly the same as the one up at the top, but they put it in the pristine line and called it the 248. So, and it's interesting because they already had a pristine celery that was more like the pristine line. It was kind of oval shaped and more like a lot of the pristine than this is. So, but just a little interesting evolution. Okay.
Jack, did they alter the mold or did they make a new mold for the pristine?
Unknown. I would assume they just altered the mold because they're identical pieces. I obviously have all three of these pieces, but there's no record of a new mold being done, but that's possible. So, but I would think they would have just altered it. So, um, finger bowls. Now, stemware lines and lines in general, each seem to have a finger bowl. And in fact, going later on to the company, when there was just a stemware line by itself, they also had a finger bowl. Some lines, finger bowls were indigenous to that line. In other words, they were only for that line. Like, say, the Caprice had its own finger bowl, the Tally Ho line had its own finger bowl. So did the 3500 line, and that's the one on the right that you see that's golden crusted Carmen Rose Point. The other two on the other side then are finger bowls, which also were in the 3500 line, but they were used in a number of different stemware lines too as well. So those were more universal, and they were in like 4 or 5 or 6 different lines. But the one on the right is pretty cool, and it's also exceptionally rare. There's only a few of these known. This particular one that we see, we happen to have been auction chairs when this came into the auction back in 2014, and it had a major crack in the base, and it still went for $275. And to this day, I think, to what I understand, it's the only one of these that's ever been seen. Although there's got to be another one around there somewhere if they did one. But I've owned a crystal one and seen one in, is it Minerva? I'm trying to think. Yeah, Minerva and Apple Blossom are their other two ones that are known. So,
Jack, is the base on that crystal and the bull Carmen?
of the footed one. Gosh,
Yes.
it doesn't look Carmen, but I think it is because it was all part of the same mold. It's not like it's a two-piece thing. That was so long ago, but it does look like it. It would have
It's
had to have been, I
Carmen.
think. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. hmm Okay. The last patent was for the covered urn, and this was issued in 33. And this came in two different sizes, the 10 and the 12 inch. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I want to kind of allay some misconception about this piece. This is the 12-inch covered urn on the left. This is the gold encrusted Elaine one. Now, later on in the 40 catalog and the supplemental pages, the one on the right, or not this particular one, but this shape where they removed all the Gadroon features, that shows up in that catalog, and they also label it as the 3500 Gadroon item. That is absolutely not the case. It was a mistake, as there are many errors in that catalog. And of course, during the wartime, people probably just pulled an image out and a thing, and there were some things that were could have been done a little better. But regardless, that's that, because they also did the same thing with the vase. So this is the 3500 10-inch vase on the left, and they removed the Gadroon feature. And we know that they turned this and gave it the number of the 1621 vase. So they should have done the same thing with the covered urn. We just don't know what it was. This one on the right is also beautiful. That's ebony gold encrusted blossom time. So one other thing I want to do show about the vase. This is one of our favorite pieces on the left. This is the 122 7-inch vase. There's only a few of these known. It's extremely rare. What they did is they took the 8-inch vase, which is on the right, and they just chopped off the top inch, and then they pinched in the sides. So there's one known in Crown Tuscan, and somebody else has also said that they saw a forest green one too as well. But they are few and far between. Interesting little footnote is that in the catalog, it says this is also available in an 8-inch size, which makes no sense. Nobody's ever seen it. But if they were doing a larger size, they would chop the 10-inch vase and make it a 9-inch crimped one, but not an 8-inch. So since nobody's ever seen it, who knows what it exists or not. So,
Jack, are you sure that's not the bottom of the covered urn?
no, it's a little different.
Okay, all right.
It's a little different size-wise.
Jack, another question I have. I noticed the tabs on the foot of the one on the left, but I don't see those same tabs on the foot of the one on the right. Is that accurate?
Better let me look. Is I think it just does not show up in that photo.
Thank you.
Well, wait a minute. You may be right. The tabs, that is something I never noticed before. You really good pointing that out. The tabs are on the covered urn and not the vase. So you're absolutely right. Huh, I just learned something. Thank you. Okay. There were three things gone by 1935, these three items, that bowl, and then the candelabra in the middle and the candlesticks. What they did is they revised the base of this and made it a nice smooth base so they could decorate it and etch it, et cetera, et cetera. But this version, the original version, was gone by this time. So. And then in 1935, 1937, all 15 stems were now offered, and 106 items, and were in the line outside of the stemware, and of course, about those three being gone. All the Gadroon items have, I said, the Gadroon features with one exception, and that's the blown candy box and cover. Of course, it does have a 3500 stem. But on this lid, that was kind of a universal lid for Cambridge. They put this on a number of different things. 1066 line, 3011 line, 3121, 3122, and 3600 line. So they used that same lid extensively on many pieces. So one of the things that's interesting about the line is much what was in it is really as much what was not in it. There was no jugs, no dinner plate, which I think is interesting because there is a 6.5 inch bread and butter, a 7.5 inch, an 8.5 inch plate. You would think there, in as big a line as it is, with all the serving pieces and everything, you'd think there would be a dinner plate, but somebody fell asleep at the switch on that. An ice bucket, decanters, cruets, cocktail items. So none of those exist. Also, we have 12 items with numbers, but no description, or I should say, and description, but no evidence they were ever produced. And one of those is the ice bucket. That has a 3500/138 ice pail, but there's no evidence that it was ever produced. So they probably just could have taken a regular ice bucket and put a Gadroon edge on it, really. But it was produced in many different colors: amber, amethyst, carmine, crown Tuscan, dianthus pink, ebony, Eleanor blue, forest green, Lake Dart emerald, light emerald, Madeira, mandarin gold, milk, mocha, moonlight blue, royal blue. So a lot of different colors, and hopefully we'll see some cool things tonight from what people will bring out. Most colors were apparently discontinued in the early 1940s, of course, when the war outset. So this is kind of an interesting one. I like to show this piece. That's the number 16 bowl, amber etched Elaine, gold stippled. And it also had some really unique gold decorating going down the inside of the bowl, which was kind of unusual. A place for it to get worn, of course, and luckily this bowl was not used very much, so pretty much everything was intact. Also, something that is beautiful and really sought after, that was done in the mid to late 1930s, was Carmen gold encrusted rose point stemware. This particular one is the iced tea, and this was the one that was in this year's auction and sold. And with just to give you an idea, it brought I think it was $1,265 when you add in the buyer's premium and everything. That's what the buyer paid for. So that brought a very good price, and they're beautiful pieces, beautiful pieces. So another thing Cambridge did color-wise, that they would add colored handles in amber, carmine, and royal blue. They would do it on 2 Gadroon pieces, as well as doing crystal handles on colored pieces. So they did it both ways. Wanted to just give a little description of what's the difference and what it is to mean to be gold stippled. When the 3500 line is not the only line that is gold stippled. There are a few others too. One, including Martha, is probably a predominant one that's very prevalent. But they are lines that they don't have a nice smooth edge around. So the ones that did a nice smooth edge, Cambridge would have a nice straight line going around. But on these, they would gold stipple them. And what it is, it's like that. You can see around the rim, it's that brushed stroke in all the way around. And the only difference between gold stippled pieces and gold encrusted pieces, the gold encrusted is a gold stippled piece with the etch filled in. Otherwise, they're exactly the same. You can see the one on the right that's gold encrusted still has the gold stippling around the edge. So, wanted to show this. This is the Ram's Head Punch Bowl, and it was introduced originally. The one on the left, which is flared, was the original introduction, and then later on, all the catalog images show one that is not quite as flared, although it's the exact same blank. And you see the Ram's Head on the side. I'm sure if someone wanted to order a flared one, 2 or 3 years later or whatever, that Cambridge would do it for them. But that's just the catalog image that was shown. So the other thing that was here's another Ram's Head piece. These are the 2 light candlesticks with the Ram's Head in the middle. They also had Ram's Heads on the candlestick cups. And all the candlesticks in this line had that with the exception of one. But even later versions that when they put the cornucopia in the middle, they still left the ram's heads off. So Cambridge, this is an element that they brought back with this line. The ram's head bowl was originally introduced in the early 20s, and you see it on the opaque colors and the early transparents. And then it disappeared in the late 20s. And then with the introduction of the 3500 line, they brought it back. In fact, there's, I think, 11 different pieces in this line with the ram's head on it. I did an article about this if you're interested in get into more detail about in the 2015 crystal ball on ram's head items. So you can check that out if you're interested. They did a lot of cool cuttings on the line. This comport here, the 36 comport, that is cut auburn. And then the gadroon or the 10-inch covered urn on the right has a beautiful polished cutting on it, but it's unidentified. I've seen 2 or 3 of these with beautiful cuttings that haven't been identified. I assume they're Cambridge. They look like they're Cambridge, but we just don't know what they are. As far as cuttings on the stemware go, they only did 3. I should say back on this one, there's as far as the cuttings they did on the regular pieces, there's like Adonis, Achilles, Cicero. I won't name them all. There's probably about 15 or 16 different ones that they did on the non-stemware. But on the stemware, they only did 3. Adonis on the left, Croesus in the middle, and then Victory Wreath on the right. All introduced at about the same time. Adonis and Croesus were introduced first. Victory Wreath came shortly thereafter. Adonis and Croesus were extremely popular and were in production all the way through the end of the company. I call them sister cuttings because they always appeared together on any price list, any promotional material, ads. They were run together like that. Victory Wreath, not so much. It's a beautiful cutting, but it did not last near as long. It must not have been as good a seller. Also, you know the difference. What they did with the Victory Wreath, this is a 13-ounce footed tumbler, is they cut the rim of on the top of the bowl. And that is really almost like the Majestic cutting. And they did the same thing on the foot too as well. So a little extra work on there, but beautiful piece. So last thing on this part, they did some experimental pieces with the 3500 stem. This one is the experimental part is the bowl. It's a 3600 shape bowl. It's a 7-ounce bowl. I remember when there was this came up on eBay a long time ago, and I looked at it and I go, that's not a 3500 shape bowl. Something's weird about this. So I asked the seller, I said, what is it to the rim? What's it measured? She said 7 ounces, and I knew this was weird. So I got the whole set, and I believe it's probably the only set that was made, but we don't know for sure. Put one in the museum, and you also have seen this. There's one in the museum at Rose Point. So they were fiddling around with these things. The other thing is a little factoid here is they did the same bowl in 3121 stem, experimenting with that. That's etched Rose Point, Wildflower, and maybe Chantilly. Maybe Julie can match that. I'm not sure if there was one Chantilly on this or not.
Nope, no Chantilly, Jack.
No Chantilly. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Nope.
Maybe there's one out there. Who knows? So another thing they did with the line is they put ormolu holders on some, and this is just an interesting one. This is a 3-part relish. They put the ormolu actually on the top holder or wrapped it around. That was a pretty cool thing they did. Another piece that's a little unusual in any line is they actually satinized the rim and the base on this. So it's really a cool piece. It's the only time I think I've ever seen this done. if they did it on others, it was not very often. Another example of where Cambridge made a bunch of things from the same mold. All five of these bowls were made from the same mold, 16, 17, and 18 bowls across the top, the 19 and the 118 across the bottom. The one top middle, the number 17 is probably the one you see the most often in any case. The other four, not so much. In fact, a couple are very difficult to find. But anyway, they just, came out of the mold and crimped them the way or flared them the way they wanted them. Here's another bowl. This is the same, came out of the same mold as that satinized rim bowl, the number 28 bowl. But they didn't crimp it. There's no identification on this bowl. It could have been a sales sample, which never maybe went into full production. There's been one or two more of these seen, but that's been about it. This particular one is beautiful. It's moonlight, and it has a gray cutting, which is unusual because Cambridge, they weren't doing gray cuttings in this time period now. So this was probably some type of sample that's just got lucky to latch onto. So another neat piece, courtesy of Mike and Lisa Strebler. This is the Yukon after dinner set. So the 3500 piece is the tray, and you can see the gadroon edge around the tray. And then they put the 925 after dinner cup on it and the 1327 cordial on it. It's got a neat factory label. It's kind of a cool piece there. Here's a piece that we joke that it has just a very, very expensive lid. Because what they did is they took the, I don't know if it's the, let's see, which relish is that? It may be the 90 something relish, whatever. The bottom part is the relish that it's fairly common, easy to find, and they put a lid on it, and that made it a very expensive covered relish. So you don't see these very often. I think there's one Rose Point one known, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've heard from Rose Point collectors. So it's just it's a pretty cool piece. Another cool thing that they did, they took the common relish, which you see a lot of 3-part and a 4-part relish. This is a 10.5, 10. This one's a 10-inch. But they would take the compartments of the dividers out, or I should say they didn't put them in. And they also did this without feet. So this one has 4 feet, but there's a version without feet, and those aren't easy to find either. This one happens to be cut creases. A couple of things I wanted to just show. We had the one celery transformation. There was a couple of 3,500 pieces that morph into other things. This is a very one that you're all familiar with. The 154 3,500 candlestick on the left was only in production for maybe a year or two at best. In fact, you see this candlestick more in crystal than anything, unetched or whatever. I'm supposing or wondering if maybe they, made a number of them, waited for maybe orders to etch some and ship them out, and that never came. So they actually changed it to the number 74 Caprice line. It's what's interesting. If you look at that Caprice candlestick, it still has the gadroon edge on the bottom. They left that on there. So all they did is they took it and they added the Caprice optics to it. Another thing they did, and I'm going to show 3 pieces that are all from the same mold here, that they did the same thing. The 54 Comport, this was a peach blow one, gold stippled Elaine. They changed it to the 54 Pristine low-footed Comport. They took the gadroon features off the edge and on the foot both. And the bottom one is gold encrusted columbine. That's also courtesy of Mike and Lisa. Beautiful piece. They also did it with the basket. And this was the one when we were, Mike gave his pristine presentation, and I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he showed this piece, the one on the right, which is the pristine 55 basket, and wasn't sure if it was pristine or not, which of course it was, and they just took the Gadroon edge off the 3555 basket. And the last thing, and again, all three of these are from the same mold. They did the 161 plate and took the Gadroon features off and made it the pristine 56. So, last thing I wanted to talk about is just they did of course, Farber bought a lot of Cambridge items. In fact, I've been told that anywhere from 60%, 70% of everything Farber did was with Cambridge blanks. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's in the book, and I've heard collectors say that too. So, but that's a lot. And there were 3,500 items that were in that mix. Here you see some of the 3-part relish, the 4-part relish, the 2-part bowl, etc. And I wanted to show this because this is pretty interesting. The one on the bottom is what's shown in the Farber catalog. Excuse me. And it takes that 652 relish and they added 2 dividers in it. Now, the one on the bottom has a cutting on it, and that's what's shown in the catalog. But the one on the top, that's Diane. And I've also seen that with only 1 divider. So been trying to discern if Cambridge actually showed or produced this piece for anybody other than Farber. Don't have any evidence of it yet, but you don't see the one top piece very often. So, and this one was actually at a show up at the Michigan show here last month. Okay, just some last little things. In 1949, the line was reduced almost to just 21 items plus stemware. The short bowl goblet, 2.5-ounce tumbler, and a 13-ounce footed tumbler were gone. In 1956, they brought back the 2.5-ounce footed tumbler and called it the low wine. But really, all that was left was the salad plates and a relish. And in 1958, they took the 30-ounce cocktail away. So, yeah, I know. Okay. That's it. Any questions or?
No, that was wonderful, Jack. I think we forget how many items there were in Gadroon, and then how the pristine, there's complementary pristine that look like Gadroon as well. So I found that very interesting. And since I also really like chintz, I've got the candlestick with the ram's head, but I'm certainly looking for that bowl.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, and since before I turn this over to everybody, the answer to the trivia question. The most, again, the four choices were Caprice, Pristine, 3,400, and 3,500. The winner is Pristine. So that was by far that had the most items. Then this is unscientific, but pretty close count. They had 323 non-stem items. Second, and this really surprised me, was the 3,400 line. It had 238 pieces, but Caprice was right there. They were neck and neck. Caprice had around 234 pieces. So they were pretty close. And then 3,500 brought up the rear with 139 pieces, whatever. So that just gives you a little idea where things stand with all that.
Jack, I got one question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm new at this. So on the candlestick, you said they changed it in 35.
Which candlestick are you referring to?
Help me, David.
Are you talking about the 3-light candlestick? They changed to Caprice?
No, the blue one with the blue boba shade.
Oh, the one that had the ribbed base.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what did they change it to?
It's exactly the same. They just took the ribbed base and they made it a real smooth plain base. So that's the one that you see etched and cut, etc.
And where do you see that? Where did he get that from? I've never seen that. that it changed? Is it in like the 35 book or?
Yeah, it's in the 35 catalog. That's the only time it shows up is in that original catalog pages. And then in the original 33, 34. And then after that, you don't see that anymore.
Did it continued with the collared Bouviers or not? When they
It was
took the,
produced both ways, yes. Uh-huh.
even when they
With,
changed the base.
with the Beaubochet and just with the candlestick without a Beaubochet, yes, both ways.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Great questions, George. So, Jack, which line, not line, pattern, like you've shown a lot of a lane. Do you know a lane obviously came in a tremendous number of pieces of Gadroon. What about any other patterns? Do we know that, say, Rose Point or any of the others were prevalent in
Yeah,
having a
sure.
lot of Gadroon pattern?
Let me here are all the etchings that were done on this line. Candlelight, Chintz, Diane, Elaine, of course, Minerva, Portia, Rosalind, Rose Point, Wildflower, and Valencia. So those are all the etchings that were done. And there may be, there may be some others. Those are the only ones that are known, but of course they could have done some other things too. So
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions for Jack? I'm sure some will pop up. So with that being said, we'll move on to the show and tell portion. And George, do you have a piece to show, or that was your
Sure.
question?
I'm totally new at this, so you're gonna have to see how I do. And
Okay.
I'm gonna use my phone with a couple people saying I
Okay.
can. Can you see the first piece?
You're a little on the blurry side.
Yeah, how do I make it not blurry?
That's
Any
a good
idea?
question. Any help from the audience?
Because it's blurry when I see it too.
I don't know. Maybe it's the distance. Well, we see that we had a good picture of you there for a second.
Is it blurry now?
Still blurry. How about we come back to
Come
you?
back. Okay,
We'll
I'll
come
play
back
along.
to you, okay?
Okay, bye.
All right. Okay, next we'll go to Jeff and Mary, and we'll put Wendy on deck, please.
Okay. The first piece I'll show is the relish, the two-part. This is etched Rose Point. Jeff found it in a little hospice benefit shop that was sitting inside the silver Rose Point, the Wallace silver bowl that's marked on the back Rose Point. It's a little worn, but the relish fits right nicely into it.
Beautiful.
And then this is I didn't, this, well, 3,500, of course, 3 light candlestick, and this is also etched Rose Point.
Mary, that's the 3,900 Rose. That's
Oh,
the
is it?
39.
I could have sworn it was,
Yeah, no, that's 3,900.
okay. Well, never mind that. We'll save that for the 3,900 program. And little basket. Blue. We have these in a couple of colors, but I really like the blue. And then the sugar basket, which has it's got the spot for the tongs to sit on top of it, but I don't think I have tongs for it. I have to see if I can find a set of tongs. One of our favorite pieces of Gadroon is the Crown Tuscan ram's head.
Oh, yes. Beautiful piece.
Yeah, we bought this from I think it was from the museum gift shop, actually. And I just love this bowl. I love Crown Tuscan anyway, but and then we have the Crown Tuscan candlesticks with the ram's head. And then just a couple, or maybe one more piece here is the the relish, and this is the. I always have a hard time remembering and differentiating Minerva and Valencia, and I think this is Minerva with the little rose. I don't know if you can see it there, the little flowers there. And I think that's all we brought out.
Hey,
On
Mary,
the first piece that you showed, was that a divided bowl? I couldn't see it well enough, or is it
Yeah.
just?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, and so nice to find it in that holder.
Yeah, it was cool. I wouldn't have picked up on it, but Jeff happened to notice it, and it's like, oh, cool, it's marked rose, but we didn't have any of the Wallace pieces like that. So
I was
All right.
wondering, do you think that was that sold and marketed that way? It seems to be that fits in there really nicely. Or
It
is it
does,
somebody
yeah,
just made a marriage?
yeah, it could be, it could be a marriage. I don't know, but it does fit in there perfectly.
It's perfectly.
hey, Mary, could you hold up the Crown Tuscan candlestick to show George the modification that Cambridge made? Now, tilt it towards us. Yeah, that shows where the rib lines have been removed from the bottom of the candles, from the base of the candlestick. George, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the base is smooth, so they could put an etching or a cutting on there a lot easier than it was originally. Thank you, Mary.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so very much for sharing. You guys always have beautiful pieces to share with the rest of us. So with that said, we'll move on. And let me see. I had Jeff and Mary. Who did I have on deck? Did I have anybody on deck? If not, I think it was.
Wendy. You had Wendy.
That's what I thought. Wendy on deck, and Barbara. We'll go to Wendy, and then Barbara, you'll be on deck, please.
$3,500 is one of my favorite lines too. There's just so many pieces that I just find real attractive. I'm hearing an echo. Are you hearing an echo too?
A little bit, but it's not too bad.
Okay. I have two pieces of stemware. The first one is the 10-ounce goblet in the long bowl. I always love these. I got these from John Peterson. I'm sure many of you knew John.
Oh, yes.
So I got these from John. And I have the 1-ounce cordial in the Adonis cut.
Oh, lovely.
Cute little piece. Then in my smoking items, I've got the 3,500 3.5-inch square ashtray with, I think, a Hawk's cutting on the base. And this is the 3.5-inch Adonis ashtray out of that set of 5. And I have the 3,590, I believe it is, the cigarette holder with Adonis cutting. I think when I did my smoking program years ago, David said that these were kind of hard to find with the cutting on them.
Yes, Wendy, that is still the case. They are still very difficult to find with the cutting.
Okay. And then, like Mary and Jeff, I like the Crown Tuscan. So this is the 10-inch, the 3,528 bowl. And also in Crown Tuscan, I do have this 7-inch base. Now, you were saying on the ebony one, Jack, that it didn't have the lines. Now, this one does have the lines on the base.
What were you saying? Amir?
When you showed the two of these, there was a question about were there lines, these lines on the base of the black one. And I don't,
Well, it
I think,
wasn't a black one. That was my Crystal Lane one. But yeah, right. Yours has as does ours, has those little footed things on it, which means that they took the bottom half of the covered urn as opposed to chopping off the base.
okay. Yeah, I would love this piece.
Yeah.
And lastly, I got the 3500 152 four-part relish. And it's got a beautiful silver decoration around the edge, real pretty flowers, and gray cutting, which again to me looks like a hawk's cutting. I don't think it's a Cambridge cutting. One of my earlier pieces that I never let go of. And that's it.
Oh, I love that silver piece. As somebody that collects a little bit on the silver side, that is just lovely. I especially like the accent in the silver to, show off the cutting as well. So that is just lovely. Thank you so much for sharing with us. You always have such interesting pieces.
Okay.
Next, we'll move to Barbara, and then we will put Gwinnell on deck, please.
Well, I originally thought that I only had one piece, but if you've been talking, I've been running around my apartment. Okay, because I do have the ram's head in Rose Point,
Yes.
and I also have to go with it the two candlesticks.
Beautiful.
And what I've been trying to find is that I have that also. Excuse me. Hello, don't break anything. I have it in blue. But I cannot find the bowl, which I have been searching for a few years now. If anybody has it, let me know.
Well, Barbara, you're coming to
I know. And this I got at the show last year. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the Crown Tuscan with
Can you
gold.
pull it back just a little bit?
With
There
gold.
you go.
It's in Florida. But I took pictures of it. So
Oh, nice.
I have the bowl also with the gold. Can you see that?
Yes, there we can. Beautiful.
And then what happened, I realized I have a lot, but one of the things that got me all excited because I didn't understand this is that I've got a number of pieces in the Farber. So and
Yeah.
that's the one you showed, and I have it. It's got really interesting cutting here. And that goes along with this other piece that I have. Hold on. It's a double and it moves. Let me show you this piece. This is the same concept and it turns. And it's blue inside. Again, the gadroon to match that other piece. And then I thought I have a lot, but this one also is a little nut dish, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in the gadroon. And it's got a double. It's doubled inside here, so you could put nuts of various kinds in it. So those are I have stemware. I have a lot in this, which I didn't realize now that I'm getting educated. But I have a number of the blue pieces on that also.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing, even from your Florida home in photographs. We love that.
Thank you.
And we hope that you're going to have a good year back at Cambridge again this year. Hopefully you'll find your blue ram's head bowl.
I hope so.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Next, we'll move to Gwinnell, and we will put David on deck, please.
Good evening, everyone. Got the sugar basket with the tongs, and I didn't clean them. I left them as is in the amber. And the Valencia gold encrusted with the stippling and the painted handles as well.
Beautiful.
And to go along with the Valencia, I've got to have the Minerva. But I've brought the individual ones out.
Yes.
And then you know me, I'm going to throw somebody else in here. I kind of popped it in at the Sunday show, but this is the Paden City's Gadroon. And Hazel Marie Weatherford named it Walla.
Walla?
Yeah, but Paden City only called it 881.
Okay.
Which is also known as Gadroon. It's got the Gadroon edge on it. But
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't have the foot, and it's got the trim around the bottom. And the handles are different.
Yeah.
But it is oval.
Oh.
Instead of being round. And same with the creamer. Well, that's all I brought out. I didn't bring out all the colors.
Well, thank you, Gwinnell. And we always love that you bring in another manufacturer so we can see the subtle differences. So thank you so much for sharing. It's always a pleasure. Next, we'll move to David, and we will put Jeff on deck, please.
Thank you, Julie. I do have a couple pieces in the collection of 3500. This is a 3500. I call it the water goblet, but I know it's technically called the long bowl because they made something called the short bowl goblet for a short period of time in this line. This is not the coveted gold encrusted rose point. It's a decorate. We call it a silk screen, but I don't know if that's the correct term or not. Uh, Catalog says it's decorate 1037. This decoration comes on carmine, royal blue, amber, and crystal in the 3500 stem line. It's kind of a close second to gold encrusted rose point, but quite a difference in price. Jack can maybe help me out a little bit here. I know he wrote a great article on the 1338 candlesticks. I believe these were part of the 3500 line initially, but when I looked them up on the website, it just came up as 1338. But I did search 3500 candlesticks. So something buried in the description or in the code causes this candlestick to come up as part of the 3500 line. But the number shown on the website was just 1338. So this is what we call the 1338 version 1, but it was part of the 3500 line. I think sometimes we try to morph it into the Mount Vernon line, but it's a great candlestick. The early version comes in several different colors, and they're what I call the good colors, the good dark colors: carmine, royal blue, amber. We would always love to find an amethyst pair and a forest green pair. Unfortunately, those I don't believe have ever surfaced, but one of my favorite candlesticks.
David, you are correct. I'm glad you brought that up because when that candlestick was introduced, it was introduced in the 3500 line, and it actually shows up on a price list with 3500/1338, and that's it. From there on, it was only just by itself, and it was an accessory piece, and the Caprice line, the 3400 line, and all kinds of other things too. So,
oh, cool. Thanks for that clarification. I knew it was part of it.
David, we did have a question from Jonathan. He wants to know what the difference is between a silk screen and a transfer.
Jonathan, no difficult questions on Zoom and Tell, please. I'll leave that up to people that are more knowledgeable than I am. I say silkscreen because that's the common vernacular, I think, among collectors. It could be a transfer. I'm not 100% sure on how they got this decoration onto the bowl. I would assume it was very similar to when they put the enamel decoration on it. But when you rub your hand across this, you can barely tell where the gold is. So it's extremely thin, maybe less, or someone more knowledgeable, Jack, or somebody could help explain the difference because I do not know.
I think you're right, David. I haven't found any reference anywhere in Cambridge documents of the word silkscreen being used, but it's been, as long as I've been a collector, the people associated with Cambridge have referred to it as a silkscreen decoration, but little doubt it is a transfer. like you said, like a enamel decorate.
All right. Jonathan, I hope that helps. And the last piece, I'm going to get it up here. The Jack's already shown this, but I went to the effort to get it out of the case. This is the 3500, what number? 32 candlestick with the blue Beauboucher. George and I have been having some questions offline about these colored Beaubouchers and what candlesticks they went on, how long they were produced, and what colors they were produced in. This is the early four lock, and there are four nubs on the top of this candlestick. This is the taller version. I have seen the colored Beaubouchers in carmine, forest green, amber, and royal blue. My gut feeling is there should be an amethyst one out there somewhere. Maybe someone has seen one. And I personally believe that this is the candlestick the colored Beauboucher came on most of the time. Nude collectors like to steal these and throw them on the nude candelabras. But I think for a very short time in the mid 1930s, these were produced with colored Beaubouchers. I know I've seen them in amber and green this way. I've never seen the Carmen. I don't know if I've seen a Carmen one or not, but I've seen a Carmen Beauboucher. It just was not on this particular candlestick. So if anyone wants to add some information to that, please do.
Well, thank you, David. Those are lovely pieces. Lovely, lovely. Next, we have, let me see, who did I have on here? I had Jeff, and then we'll put Elaine on deck, please.
Hello, everybody. Great presentation, Jack. Pretty cool. My first one is the gold encrusted Elaine covered urn. So we might as well show some gold here tonight in Elaine, of course. And this one here is pretty cool. This is the three-part relish in gold, but it's etched Portia and Rose Chintz number 3, I believe. So that's just, I mean, two different etchings, gold encrusted. That's just way cool. Way cool. And we have some comports here. Got this little one here, etched Elaine. This is number 46, I believe. And then we'll go to this one here. Another one, etched Elaine. With the different stem on it like that. Then we have the taller one. This is pretty big. I have 2 or 3 of these. I just thought it was cool as all get out because they're so big. Etched Elaine.
Hold that. Can you hold that back a little bit, Jeff, so we can get a comparison to one of your others? Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just way cool. Way cool. And the neatest one is this M&M dispenser. Etched Elaine. So that's pretty. It's got the gold rim and the gold around the foot.
Beautiful piece.
So it works great. Works really great. And it is optic too. I don't know if you can see that, but it is optic. So that's what I have.
Jeff, where's the punch bowl?
Oh, that's in the cabinet along with all the rest of them.
Jeff
But I
has
do
the
need
Elaine punch bowl.
Yeah,
Ransom.
Jack showed that one. The one that was on the right's the one I have.
Yes.
Yes, that was a fabulous thing to get. I do
Yes,
need a
it
ladle
was.
for it and
Yeah.
punch cups, but those are like You know, three of them in the world probably. So
Well, beautiful pieces. And the one that you showed that has the chintz with the Valencia, that also comes in chintz and I
it's
believe Minerva as
it's
well.
it's chintz and Portia.
Portia. Yes, I believe
Yeah.
it comes in, I'm sorry, chintz and Valencia, or it's either chintz and Valencia or it's either chintz and Minerva. I can't remember at the moment. But there's another pattern that has the dual combination. Do you remember, Jack, which one it is?
It's
Yeah,
Minerva. It's Minerva.
Elaine's gonna show that in a minute. I was gonna talk
Oh,
about that a little bit, but there are
okay.
actually three different etches that have the chintz in the bottom. So
Okay, perfect. Well, that's good because Elaine's up. So that's wonderful. So we'll have Elaine and then we will put Greg on deck, please.
Okay, thank you, Julie. My first item is a forest green 3-part covered candy. Let me take the lid off. Etched Elaine. Let me give it to you. And a relish etched Elaine gold encrusted, no dividers and no feet. And then what we were just discussing, here's a 3-part relish, gold encrusted Elaine, but with chintz on the bottom. This is a 3-part, and here it is in a 4-part. Elaine gold encrusted with the chintz.
And to answer your question about what they were doing on that, Cambridge only did that. They combined the two etches on both the 4-part and the 3-part relish, but only when they gold encrusted them. They didn't do it on the crystal ones or the gold stippled ones, only when they gold encrusted it. So when they did, you got, what was it, the Valencia, Minerva, and Elaine.
And I think he had
And
Portia.
I think Portia. So maybe those four are correct. I'm not sure if they did Diane or not, but I can't remember all the ones that they did. But those are the only one, and they only did it on the 3-part and the 4-part gold encrusted. So
Okay. I think it was yeah, I believe I've seen it on Crown Tuscan with Portia and chintz. I'm not sure if I've seen it on Crown, but or with Minerva, but and someone said Heidi said Heidi, I mean there is one in Diane as well. Oh, that's good to know. Chintz. Oh, now I figure out more things I got to go find. So wonderful. Those are
It
beautiful
sounds like,
pieces.
sorry, it sounds like chintz was the main secondary etching,
Yes.
right? There's not Rose Point and Elaine or nothing like that out there.
Not that I'm aware of. It's only just been chintz, and it's usually chintz in the bottom married with something else that's on the sides.
yeah, that's correct. It's chintz on the bottom and then Elaine, whatever. Yeah, they didn't do that with Rose Point or some of the other ones that are Wildflower.
No, no. Okay. Well, is Elaine finished with her pieces? Okay,
Hey,
beautiful. Well,
Jack, just a quick question. Why do you think they only did it when they gilded the etching as opposed to not doing it when it was not gold encrusted? What are
Who
your thoughts?
now? You're asking me why Cambridge did something.
You wrote the article on combo etchings. I figured you'd be the guy to answer.
That's hey now, you're the one that just got done saying there's supposed to be no tough questions on Zoom and Tell just a minute or two ago, right?
So, just a follow-up to that, when they put gold on those um, items, is the gold on the inside where the food would be, or is the gold on the underside away from the food?
It's on the inside.
It's on the inside.
So it's not on the outside. So
Is
you use it, you wear it.
is the chintz gold in the bottom?
Yes, it's on the inside, right along the bottom, just the same as the Elaine etches on around the edge.
Okay. And
Mhm.
it's filled in with gold.
Yes.
Okay.
Gold is not harmful in small amounts to human health, David, if
Well,
that's where
I'm
you're going
not
with that.
worried.
Jack, is the Elaine is the gold encrusting on the inside or the outside on the Elaine portion of the etch?
It's on the inside.
Also, thank you.
Mhm.
Beautiful pieces. Well, thank you, Elaine and Jack, for sharing those. I'm always so jealous that Elaine came in so many different colors, where it seems like some of the other, patterns, such as, well, Wildflower did have colors, but you have some other very popular patterns, such as Chantilly, that did not come in any colors. I just never understood why they just didn't have it in everything else in colors as well as they did it in Elaine.
Well, I will need to kind of correct you a little bit on that. They did not do much Elaine in color. They really didn't. Now they did a lot of gold encrusting and decorating
Mhm.
that, but there's not a lot of Elaine in color like there is other etches. So unfortunately, when we
Not
do
a lot.
find one, we treasure it.
Not a lot, but they still made it. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still jealous. I'm still jealous. So with that, we'll move. Thank you again. We'll move to Greg and we will put less on deck, please. And Jonathan said, Jack and Elaine just happen to have all the Elaine pieces in color. Okay,
Hi,
Greg.
everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Well, I didn't think I had much Gadroon either until I started to think about it and I started to see things. And when David brought out his gold transfer Carmen goblet, it reminded me that I had the grandchild of that water goblet in the cordial with that
Mm.
gold transfer uh, pattern on it. You can see that well. Wait a minute, let me turn on this light. Yeah,
There we
you can
go.
see it a little bit better.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
so that's the cordial. Somebody found about 6 of these together, and I was able to get one of them from him. I won't mention his name. David. Um, and of course, we've heard a lot about the sisters, Minerva and Valencia tonight. So I pulled out I have a short bowl Minerva goblet, which I guess that's one of those mysteries we'll never know. It seems to be a very appealing shape, very functional shape, but I guess they didn't make it for a very long time. So, and I think they only made it in Rose Point and Elaine, Minerva, Valencia, maybe something else. Or was that maybe it?
I think I've seen it in chintz.
Uh, and then traveling sister, um, Valencia. This is one of the really neat things in my collection that somebody might recognize this. It is Valencia Comport, the wonderful 3500 Comport. I love the stem on this because it is as far as I know, the biggest representation of the 3500 stem, which is, I think, a work of art. But this is really cool because it is all, I assume, willow blue from top to bottom.
Beautiful piece.
There she is. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I do love that shape and that stem. You are absolutely correct. It's a work of art, a work of art. So, so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Julie,
Greg,
if I if I could
is that
interject something,
Yes.
because he, Greg talked about that is the big stem, and Jeff also showed it as well. And so many times we will talk about stem sizes, like when we talk about the statuesque line, we talk about the 4 different size stems. In a 3500 line, there were 8 different size stems. Now, it's a little different from them because they had 5 different footed tumblers, of course. Each footed tumbler is going to have a little different size stem on it, but that just gives you a little idea. And that was by far the biggest one. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Greg, I was just wondering if there was that a forest green Gadroon bowl in the background on the stand there on the table?
It is. I got it at auction one year.
That's pretty.
Mhm.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Julie, I
All
got a
right.
question for Jack.
Wouldn't it have been wonderful if they made a drinking vessel to coordinate with the size of the stem? Hold about a quart.
Yes. All right. Next, we'll move to Les, and then Mike, you have some pieces after Les?
No, I just had a quick question for Jack based on Greg's comport there. How many different colored stems are there? The stem portion. I don't recall seeing many.
No, I would say that's extremely rare.
Yeah,
That's one of only a couple that I've ever seen. Normally they're just crystal, and so I don't know that I've ever seen that piece in color. That's the only time I've ever seen it, if I remember right. I don't know
So
what
Greg's got a one of a kind, I think.
that's a phenomenal piece.
Thanks.
All right. Next, we'll move to Les. And after Les, George, we'll try to come back to you, see if we can see your picture a little clearer.
Okay, Julie. We've seen one of these, I think you saw one of these ashtrays. They came in 5 different sizes and could stack. This particular one has enamel. Can you see it? Enamel ski
Yeah.
scene. And boy, I don't think there's much Gradoon that's got an enamel decoration on it. In the photo albums, the only thing is something with Charlton. So, very, very unique. And of course, I collect enamels, so I was really tickled to add that to the collection. I do have one of the Ram's Head bowls. Moonlight, I think it's Moonlight, and it's got an up depth to the color that is etched Valencia. And I'll say it again, Julie, in Dave Rankin's memory, it's not an etch, it's an etching. And
Okay.
plurals, etchings, plural, with the ing included. It's etched, of course, is the way, technically is the terminology. So there is a fair bit of Gadroon in color, especially in the ram's heads, but very few of them are etched. So in that sense, it's unique. I do like Crown Tuscan, like some others have mentioned. There's not a lot of the dinnerware service pieces like the cup and saucer and Crown Tuscan. And this pair is so translucent. It's not really showing on here how translucent these pieces
Oh,
are.
it's showing up very nicely
Yes,
when you hold it up. Oh,
they're
yeah.
just extremely translucent. There's really very few opaque pieces in Cambridge, like cups and saucers. I mean, there's some ivory and there's some Pomona green, but not much opaque, and ebony, of course, as far as the cups and saucers. Then I've got another one of these that we saw earlier. And when this first came out and I added the collection many, many years ago, there was some talk that it was experimental. Well, we now know, of course, it's part of the line. I think it's got a number 122. And actually, I'm not sure, Jack. I think these 4 darts in the bottom might have been removed at some point. And I tend to think the same mold was used for the vase and the covered comport as far as the bottom, or covered urn as far as the bottom. They just put a collar on the mold and used a different plunger. But I could be wrong on that. But it's unique. But I have another one of these with an even stranger shape that came out of that same mold. And this one I haven't found in a catalog. It very well could have had a number that was assigned. We don't have any price lists from the factory between 1930 and 1937. So there's a period of there that there could have been things that were numbered and were available that didn't happen to make it into a catalog. But again, it's out of that same mold. At the very least, probably the urn bottom, and then it's just with tools, it's worked in this odd shape on the top. I don't know that it's attractive or not, but it's sure unique.
Does that have
It's
a
very
gadroon
unique.
edge on top, Les?
Yes. No,
It
it's
does?
actually smooth on top. It's got the gadroon here.
On the bottom, because I didn't see it on top. I was wondering.
No, now that you mention it, it is smooth. Yeah.
Huh.
Wonders, Cambridge, you just never know what's going to pop up. So it's got the ribbing here on the side, like the urns and the vases. And then I also have the
Do you
same
know
bowl.
if that was a production piece or is that?
What'd you say, Jonathan?
Les, do you know if that was a production piece? Or
we don't. That's what I was just
do you
saying.
know
We
as a
have no
production
idea.
piece? Or
We don't know. It may have been. It could just be an experimental thing that they were playing with. But again, when we
Thank you.
don't have a price list in between there, the catalogs tend to be pretty good in coverage in the 1930s. But I think we also know, like Jack pointed out, there's a lot of things in the catalogs that aren't accurate to the piece because unless there was a major change, whoever made the catalog wasn't very fussy about picking up every subtle change that was made in the molds. And there was also some gaps. So who knows? It's I don't know that it's attractive, and I don't know that it would have been a good seller if it was a production piece. And then earlier, Mary Check showed this piece, and I agree with Mary. I think this piece is just spectacular. It's a fruit bowl, and I like the fact that it's got the ram's heads that show so nicely on both sides. That's it, Julie.
Beautiful, beautiful pieces, beautiful pieces. And I do like the unusualness of the vase that you showed. It's with the flare, and then also it's kind of, I don't know, one looks more flared than the other, obviously. So
You like this?
I think it's unusual. I like
Well,
kind of
I agree it's
unusual pieces.
unusual.
I'm not sure
If you
it.
beg hard enough.
That's nice. That's nice. Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure, Les. You always bring such interesting pieces for us, and obviously the enamel pieces is out of this world. So that's a really cool piece. So we'll move back. George, how's the camera looking?
Do we got it?
Oh, we got it, George.
I got this
Perfect.
from Westerville. Some guy was cleaning out his garage. I think you might know who he is, but so the unusual part is it has the blue arm. The blue arms are a little hard to get. Blue vases are not. So 6-inch with the 6-inch blue arm.
Beautiful.
I'm sure you guys have seen that. I could use a second base if anyone finds one. Okay. So as David pointed out, these were made in 5 different colors: amber, royal blue, forest green, amethyst, and cardamom. And since he's seen a cardamom, if anyone finds one, I could use one because I've never seen one. Very, very difficult to find cardamom there. So I have a few sets of these. Which you've all probably seen before. The 3500 112 set. Now, I do have one, Jack, that sets on a metal base. Is that Farber or is that just something else?
No, it's not a Firebird. It's an Ormolu holder. I have one in laying here
Okay.
as well. So yeah, and
Okay.
they made a couple of different designs of that. Don't know who did that, but
Yes, I have one of those. I got this from a very old collector. Some of you know I'm a melt glass collector. Have all but 4 or 5 pieces that they made. This is only made as a sample. Says there was no production, but obviously there was production. It is unfinished. Collector told me he bought it about 50 years ago. But it's the honey dish. It's the only piece that milk in Gurloon, I believe. It's the 3500 139 honey dish. Again, it's not finished. Almost all of our milk is finished. A lot of my milk was my mother's, and she actually got a lot of samples too, because we grew up in the area. But this one, it took me a long time to get.
That's a really neat piece there, George.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I have a lot of lamb's head bowls. This one to me is the most interesting. I bought it as amethyst. I assume it has to be amethyst. Um, it's the 3527. So obviously they made these different ways. What's interesting about this one is it does glow just a little bit. And I don't know, can you see that?
Yes.
But the amethyst doesn't glow like that. Les did an article about what was in the amethyst and what was in the mulberry. And I have the dolphin candlesticks and mulberry. They have a similar shine to them. See that? But I'm assuming it's got to be amethyst. Amethyst is pretty rare, I think, in lamb's head bowls. In this one, it's not hard to find in the one that's the round lamb's head bowl. You know, there's 4 different types of lamb's head bowls at least. But in this one, this is the only one I've ever seen in this shape in amethyst. But it glows like mulberry. So I don't know. Don't know. Any ideas on that?
George, are you suggesting it's mulberry?
I don't know why it glows like
Okay.
a mulberry candlestick.
Yeah. So the only thing, I'm not a blacklighter, and because it can be very deceiving as far as color identification. And although Cambridge had a standard formula they tried to use based on cost and availability of materials, they'd sometimes tweak the formula slightly. So there's alternative formulas used. So amethyst had primarily manganese as the colorant with a bit of cobalt, diluted cobalt oxide, and I don't think mulberry did. So that was a difference between those two formulas.
So do you think what makes mulberry this where I'm showing right there? Do you think that is I'm gonna spell it ANTIMONY oxide?
Antimony?
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I
I
wouldn't
don't
know.
know. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know. But mulberry
Mulberry is a
can.
much duller color.
Yeah.
Doesn't have
Don't
the
know.
sparkle.
Don't know. Interesting. So
George, what wavelength blacklight are you using?
this is the one your friend in Virginia says to buy, the 395.
My friend in Virginia.
You
Okay.
know what I'm talking about.
Not Thomas Jefferson.
The uranium world people.
I don't know. I can't think of who that is, but I know that if you look on eBay, you can make Crystal Caprice look like
Oh, I
Tokyo.
know you can. Yeah, you can. But that's not the case in this case. But
So
I
is
don't
this
know. It's just kind of interesting. I looked at this ball several times, and I bought it as amethyst, but it does look different than. I mean, I got a lot of amethyst. It just looks a little different, and it looks somewhat similar to these mulberry candlesticks. And I don't have a lot of mulberry, but it just looks somewhat similar. So I think it's probably amethyst. It's just and as Les says, I mean, you get a lot of variation in Cambridge from from collar to collar. So, probably just a variation. So, anyone ever seen an amethyst lamb's head ball in this shape? David, you've seen it all.
I don't remember seeing it, but that doesn't mean I've not seen it.
Right.
I would agree that any of the Ram's head balls in the 3500 line in color are at a minimum challenging to find. They're not rare, but Greg showed the forest green one. I know I've seen Carmen, I've seen Royal Blue, I've seen Amber. Amethyst, maybe that is the hard color to find, but I wouldn't say any of them are common.
Yeah.
David, I think maybe there's only a single Carmen known to exist.
I've seen Carmen. I think I might have a Carmen.
I would say, fortunate for Barbara, I think Royal Blue is the most common of those deeper colors. I sold one just a few years ago at the show.
Thank you, Julie.
Find another.
Well, thank you, George. And I'll have to remember, we just did a program, I want to say 2 years ago, on glass that glows. And you're right, there are two different wavelengths. It escapes me right now, but I'll review what those two wavelengths were and send it to you. They were, and it does make some of the, like I noticed, like in the museum, when we did the different wavelengths, you could get different things to glow a little bit differently. So I'll look those up for you. But thank you so much for sharing, and we're glad that you joined us this evening. So is there anyone else that has any glass to show?
Julie, can I do
Yes.
one more?
You may.
I got the punch bowl out so Les can see the
Yay!
punch.
Yay!
Isn't it spectacular?
Ram's head with Elaine etching. This is by far my most precious piece, I think, right here.
And
Beautiful.
you
There it
couldn't fly
is.
home from convention after you bought it. You had to rent a car.
Well, I didn't trust it getting shipped home. So, yeah.
Thank you,
But
Jeff.
I brought it out. I need the ladle though.
Yep, I
Okay.
only know of a handful of those punch bowls, so that's
Yeah.
you're in very, very close territory there.
Yeah, well,
Excellent.
it's a prize piece. There's no doubt about that. So,
Well, thank you for bringing it out of your cabinet. We're happy to see it again.
yes, thank you, everybody.
Yes. Is there any other glass to show this evening? If not, we're going to turn it back to David for some closing comments.
Thank you, Julie. And first of all, thank you to Jack on tackling a large line of glassware and putting it together into a program. I guess we're seeing technically 1/4 of Jack's program. But if you want to log into the Sunday program and catch those continuing series of 3,500 line programs, I'm sure Jack can let us know through our Zoom and when those are coming up. But I know Mike Strebler did a great job on the Pristine line, which was even a bigger line we found out tonight, but 3,500 was big enough. And thank you, Jack, for taking the time to put that together in a concise program for us tonight. And of course, thank you to Julie on her phone tonight. I'm just sitting here amazed how amazingly you did on your phone, because when you're used to your desktop or laptop, the phone is not as easy to use as you might want it to be. So thank you, Julie, for accommodating and doing such a great job.
Well, thank you.
We have a theme for our convention this year. It's to celebrate the 250th year of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So it's going to have a very red, white, and blue theme. So that's exactly what we're going to do this summer in June, July, and August. We've done programs several years ago. It's hard to believe I can say several years ago on Carmen, Royal Blue, and the white glass, which would be called Milk or Carrera or Opal. I think that covers it all. So we're going to revisit those themes in that order: red, white, and blue. So June will be Carmen. So you can go back and check out those Carmen pieces that you have. I know we have a lot of new participants on Zoom, so they may not have been with us when we did the Carmen program and the Milk program and the Royal Blue programs, probably back in what, 21 or 22, 1920 or 19, 2021, 2022. It's not been quite that long ago. So it'd be great to revisit those and see what people have. But we just kind of want to tie that together with our convention theme for this year. So it's really nice to coordinate those, and would be fun to go back and revisit some of those programs. And maybe we've learned a little bit since that time. So we're looking forward to hearing Les's program in June on Carmen. So thank you for everyone who shared glass tonight. That's always my favorite part, just seeing what people have and what they have found in their and have in their collection. So thank you to all of our participants as well tonight. So Julie, you can wrap us up tonight, and I look forward to hearing your comments.
If I could
All
just
right.
interject quick, Julie. So David and
Yes.
Julie had a visit, and we're going to, with these colors, we're going to kind of go back to the original format that we used when we started Zoom and Tell. We won't be using PowerPoint. It'll be a short lead-off program, and then we're just hoping all of you share items from your collections, like in Carmen next month, so we can get all of you participating, because it's the sharing among all of us and the visiting between all of us that's the best part of Zoom and Tell, at least for some of us. We value your input and what you've got in your collections, and seeing it and maybe telling us how you got it and what's the most important parts of your collection. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Les. So as always, we always appreciate everyone that comes at each and every month to our Zoom and Tell programs. It's, I kind of feel like I get invited into your home and I get to see your pieces, and that's the best part. And I can stay in my own living room. So that's wonderful. But as Les pointed out, it's more about the camaraderie and the joy that we share and celebrating what we like to collect, which is Cambridge glass. So with that, Jack, thank you so much. It was a great program, always so informative with all the beautiful pieces that you have to share with us. Again, everyone that shared, thank you so much. We wouldn't still be doing this if we didn't have the fun that we have every month. And for that, I really appreciate your attendance and appreciate you contributing. So with that being said, have a wonderful month, and we look forward to seeing everyone in June. So take care and have a good evening, everyone.